Hi, my name is Mikayla. I am the customer support team manager at Schedulicity. So maybe I've talked to some of you before and now get to put a face to a name. So on the 4th of July, we borrowed my neighbor's raft, which saved us a lot of money and allowed us to do an overnight trip on the Yellowstone River. And instead of allowing me to pay him, he just insisted that I make a Russian honey cake. Also, I just have to give a mention to this caftan. It is by far the least flattering piece of clothing I own, and also by far the most comfortable piece. Okay, it's cake making time. Let's see, what's in here? A nickel. So the first step is tracing circles on 12 pieces of parchment paper. Okay, I've got my circles traced. There are my little pan sizes, and this is the cake pan they're all gonna go on. So 6 eggs in a bowl. The yolk in there. Have you heard the trick with eggs when you get some shell into the eggs? If you just dip some more shell in to scoop it out, it's much easier. It like sticks to itself for some reason. Also, I'm home alone right now, and so I'm talking to myself in the kitchen, and my dog is 100% looking at me, wondering who I'm talking to. Who am I talking to, Ranger? See, the compost is overflowing, so we better take that out. Come on, Range. Here comes Ranger. He's very good at helping. Let's see, he goes down here and he jumps off, does a circle, and then I walk through, and then he gets on his little stoop. And then maybe he'll go charge for magpies. Let's see. No, that looks like the yard is looking good. Yep. Okay. So the next step is to measure out the honey. I need 18 ounces total, but it's going to be divided into 2. So I'm going to start by measuring out 9 ounces. For butter, I'm looking for 7 ounces of butter. I just nailed it right on the nose. Check this out. 7 ounces of butter. This is one of the big steps that makes this Russian honey cake a Russian honey cake. And basically we are going to be burning this honey. Just going to stir it occasionally until it's going to start to smoke. And the whole cake has 1.5 cups of honey, and just half of it is burnt. Smells a little burnt-ish. I don't necessarily see any smoke, but my sense is to just call it done. This bowl has the other half of the honey, the non-burnt honey, and sugar and butter. I'm going to add 1/4 cup of the burnt honey over a double boiler to melt the butter. The butter has melted. Now the next step is just deciding when this mixture is warm. So I just washed my hands so I can stick my finger in and help decide. Oh, and it is actually kind of hot. So I'm gonna let that stay off the heat for a little bit. And then we will add this mixture, which I already had setting aside. This is cinnamon, baking soda, and salt. And this is probably my favorite step of the whole recipe. I'm gonna put this mixture into this mixture. Then it says it will fizz a little bit and emit a curious odor. We can mix together some of the ingredients for the frosting, which is essentially just whipped cream, dulce de leche, and burnt honey. The rest of the burnt honey, it's about 1/2 cup, a little bit more. 1 teaspoon kosher salt, specifically the Diamond Crystal brand. And that actually is important, it turns out, because the Morton version of kosher salt, I guess, is a lot saltier per teaspoon than the Diamond Crystal. So not that you should be using this as a tutorial for how to actually bake a cake. And then we'll add the dulce de leche that we made last night. Yum, so good. Oh yes. Probably can't really see it from there, but there we go. Yum, yum. So that's looking pretty well mixed. So I shall pour in this heavy whipping cream. And get the last little bits, and then this will go in the fridge. And hopefully the butter mixture is cool enough. So that's cool. So we're ready to add the eggs. I'm just gonna whisk it in slowly with the idea that hopefully it doesn't just curdle. So now we shall add our cinnamon, baking soda, and salt. And I really don't know what all the chemical pieces of it are, but I think something happens with the baking soda. So this should get a little bit foamy. But do you see the foaminess? Nothing drastic, but you can kind of hear it pop in a little bit. We are going to sift some flour. Also, because this batter, we're going to end up making these tiny little like pancake little rounds, 12 of them. And so the consistency of the batter is really important. It needs to be really nice and smooth. And I think maybe that's true of cakes in general. I don't make a ton of cakes, so I don't know. And maybe someone out there who's listening does, and I would love to learn. Let's see, I'm going to mix this up until it's fully incorporated and then whisk another batch in, or sift another batch in. I just don't know what's not to love about sifting flour. Stirring in the last little bit of flour here, and there it is. Yum. This part is not my favorite part. Alas, here we go. Spoon in a little bit of that on, and then draw it out to the edges of the circle. All right, look at that circle. It's pretty good. I mean, I'm like not right to the line. That's pretty good. That only took me like 5 minutes. Surely it'll get faster for the next 11 layers. Okay, there's the first one out of the oven. So I'm just gonna slide this spatula around under it. This is that third circle, and it turned out better than I thought. Okay, I need to take a little break. Like I said, this is the more tedious part of this cake, so I'm gonna take a minute to reflect on why this is self-care to me. My mom cooked a lot as a kid, and I didn't do a lot of cooking with her, but I definitely, I so value the way that food brings people together. It's not a coincidence that the word agriculture includes the word culture. Growing food, cooking food, eating food, harvesting food, all of the different pieces are things that we've done together throughout the course of human history, and I just feel such a big connection to the world around me with food. And one of the things I love most of all is listening to podcasts and cooking. Probably my top 5 podcasts are Code Switch, Brene Brown's podcast, Samin Nosrat's podcast, I forget the guy she does it with. Throughline is great, Planet Money, whatever I can listen to. And right now I'm listening to Brene Brown. She just shared a phrase of hers that I think is really powerful, which is that I am here to get it right, not to do it right. Whenever I sit down and eat something, oh, there's some cake. But when I sit down and eat something I've made, I just love to look at it and think, what could I have done better? And I think that that is something that really does apply to life in general. And of course, I have to be careful to not take it too far and be judgmental of myself or hard on myself or just constantly self-critical. But, I really want to learn, and I want to get it right, not do it right. And I think that to me, that's a really great way to say that I welcome feedback. I want to learn how to grow from those around me. And I love spending time in the kitchen because I think I can cook and kind of tend to just my own humanity and like my human needs. Like not getting burned, while also having the mental space to be inspired by podcasts or books on tape, whatever it may be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4 or so more layers to go, although I'll probably cook some extras so we can have a little mini cake to keep at our house. Got all of the layers baked, which is awesome. Now I'm going to choose some flowers to decorate the top of the cake with. See, we can look into the potato forest a little bit. Little white ones with a yellow center are pretty and edible. Not tasty, but at least not gonna cause anyone trouble if they were to eat them off the top of the cake. Here is what I came up with. These little white ones with the yellow are cosmos, and yellow ones are called rue, the purple is oregano, those ones are feverfew, and that green is mint. Don't feel gypped, but I did go ahead and make the whipped cream without it. All right, here we go. Thanks for hanging out with me on a Sunday.